If you play Valorant or CS2 and you want to buy a new gaming PC that achieves high FPS in these two games, to be able to buy a 360Hz or even 540Hz monitor and you're working on a tight budget, then you clicked the right video. Today I'll show you the perfect budget gaming PC build to play Valorant and CS2 or just any esports game including Fortnite. I will test the level of performance, that way you can see the exact FPS that you will achieve in these esports games and also high demanding ones, and I will give you cheaper gaming PC alternatives in case you have a different budget. The links to this gaming PC and the ideal monitors to pair with this system will be down below in the video description with the latest prices and availability in your region. My name is Valentino. That being said, let's start. First, let's talk about the CPU, and here I went with the AMD Ryzen 5 7600 since it's one of the best value price to performance gaming CPUs in the entire market. Now, in terms of the level of performance that you will achieve, I will be benchmarking this Ryzen 5 alongside the graphics card, which is the RTX 4060 from Nvidia. Now, usually I don't recommend the RTX 4060, especially when it comes to high demanding games, because it comes with 8 gigs of VRAM. But when it comes to games like Valorant, CS2, usually Nvidia works better, especially in a game like CS2. On top of that, you can also play high demanding titles with the RTX 4060 at 1080p, high to ultra settings depending on the exact game. But again, I will be testing high demanding games and also Valorant and CS2 in just a moment after talking about these components. For the memory kit, you get 32 gigs of DDR5 memory, 6000 MHz CL30 timings, so very fast speeds. Also, the RTX 4060 comes with AV1 encoding, so the streaming quality is going to be excellent if you can use this encoder. Then you get a motherboard with Wi-Fi that is going to be upgradable over time. So if you want to upgrade your CPU down the line, you can upgrade up to the Ryzen 7 9800X3D, which is the fastest CPU in the entire market right now. This is a very upgradable system overall, and you get a 1TB SSD, which is the standard for gaming. Then for the case, you get the DIY PC ARGB Q3, one of the best looking cases in my opinion on a budget. It comes with 3 pre-installed fans, so you don't have any issues when it comes to your airflow. And then last but not least, you get a 650 watt power supply, which is going to be perfect for this system. And most importantly, your PC will not explode or anything like that, which is the main point of a power supply. That being said, let's put the Ryzen 5 7600 and RTX 4060 into the gaming test. The first test is Valorant, and in the top left corner you can see the FPS average and the FPS in real time. Now, I was averaging around 350 FPS, sometimes over 370, sometimes less, but it's going to depend on the area of the map that you are playing at. And then in practice mode, it was averaging around 1000 FPS, which is insane. So yeah, you can easily fit a 240 or 360Hz monitor, possibly even more, depending on the map that you are playing. Now we are testing CS2, and once again in the top left corner you can see the FPS in real time. Now MSI Afterburner, which is the software that showcased the FPS average, I don't know why, but it wasn't detecting the game. However, I was able to average well over 400 FPS, and most of the time it was going over 500 FPS. So here you can easily fit a 540Hz monitor. I was playing on low settings, 1080p, so not a problem if you want high FPS in these two games. As you saw, very strong performance for both esports games, and if you want to see how this one performs in different type of esports shooters, you can pause the video right now if you want to see the exact FPS. And if you want to play high demanding games, now you can pause the video to see the FPS results for those games. Overall, very impressive, and for 1080p you will have no issues. You can also play at 1440p even in high demanding titles depending on the game, as long as the game does not require more than 8 gigs of VRAM. And I do recommend you turning on the DLSS quality if you're going to be playing at 1440p for you to achieve the smoothest and best performance at that resolution. But you can easily fit a 1440p 144Hz monitor or even 240Hz depending on the games that you play and depending on the settings. For Valorant, for instance, or CS2, you will be able to play at 240 plus FPS on average, even at 1440p resolution. Now let's talk about pricing, because as I said before, this is in my opinion the best price to performance budget-oriented gaming system. The total price for this PC by the time of filming is going to be around 850 bucks, which in my opinion is pretty affordable because it's under 1000 USD, but some people do not consider this budget, so It really depends on your needs and what you consider budget. That's why if you have less to spend, I recommend you going with the AMD Ryzen 5 7500F, which is a CPU that you can get from AliExpress. It is from AMD, very similar performance compared to the Ryzen 5 7600, so don't worry about it. You will be achieving almost the same amount of FPS, and the price is going to be around $130. Just keep in mind that you have to add a CPU cooler because it doesn't come with the stock cooler from AMD, and that's going to add about $20 to the entire build, and the total price for the system is going to be close to $820, so you save some money and achieve about the same level of gaming performance. But if you have even less to spend and you're working with a very tight budget, then I recommend you downgrading the CPU to the i5-12400F from Intel, which goes for around $110. Now, with this CPU, you are going to be achieving a lower level of gaming performance. However, for CS2 and Valorant, you will be achieving 240 plus FPS on average at 1080p resolution, or even faster depending on the map and the exact settings. But you can easily fit a 240Hz 1080p monitor even with this i5 processor. Just keep in mind that it's not going to be as upgradable as the other system, because the maximum CPU I would go with this PC is going to be the i5 13400F, maybe a 12600K or a 13600K, but that's about it because the motherboard is budget oriented, so you cannot fit those i7s or i9s if you wanted even faster performance. And then for the memory, you get DDR4 memory instead of DDR5. However, you get 32 gigs of RAM, so that's going to be still pretty amazing for streaming and content creation on the side. Overall, this PC is going to be pretty good for a 240Hz 1080p monitor for esports, and the price is going to be around $720, so it's quite cheaper than the other systems. Yes, it's not as upgradable or as fast, but again, if you are working with a tight budget, this might be your best option. Also, remember that the price might be different when you're watching this video, so I do recommend you checking the latest prices and availability from the links down in the video description. And if you are finding helpful information so far, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon, that way you get to learn more about computers. Now, before you comment anything about the graphics card selection, some people are going to be wondering why didn't I choose the new Intel Arc B580. The reason why I didn't choose that one is because first of all, it's out of stock everywhere, and secondly, for a game like CS2, Nvidia is actually quite faster than Intel or AMD, and that's also why I didn't pick the RX 7600 XT from AMD. However, if your main priority is going to be high demanding games where you will need more VRAM, then yes, I would recommend you going with the Intel Arc B580 or RX 7600 XT and take the hit in some esports games. But this video was about the best Valorant and CS2 gaming PC that you can build right now, and in my opinion, Nvidia wins in that regard. And if you need a more personal PC help and you want me to take a look at your specific situation, whether you want a pre-built PC or a PC build, in the top link in the description, you can find my personal PC help. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.